It's a scene straight out of a high-stakes thriller. A United States aircraft carrier, the heart of a carrier strike group sailing through contested waters. Beneath the surface, a fleet of Chinese submarines silently stalks the formation, unseen, unheard, but definitely not unnoticed. This what-if scenario tests the limits of naval strategy, tactical decision-making, and the ever-present tension between two of the world's most powerful navies. How would the U.S. Navy respond if an aircraft carrier was suddenly surrounded by Chinese submarines? Today we're diving into the tactics, technology, and real-life incidents that reveal how this dramatic encounter might unfold. The South China Sea, a contested maritime zone where trade routes, military strategy, and national pride collide. As one of the world's most important shipping lanes, this region is often at the center of global power struggles. The United States Navy's presence here is seen as a statement. Freedom of navigation is non-negotiable. But it's not just merchant ships and oil tankers navigating these waters. Beneath the waves, Chinese submarines are on constant patrol. Their mission? Track, monitor, and, if necessary, confront foreign warships that challenge Beijing's claims over the South China Sea. Among the most coveted targets for any submarine commander is a U.S. aircraft carrier. On this particular day, a Nimitz-class carrier, escorted by its strike group of destroyers, cruisers, and submarines, sails on a routine freedom of navigation operation. But unbeknownst to them, a squadron of Chinese Type 093 and 094 submarines is already in position. Their objective is clear: surround the carrier, gather intelligence, and demonstrate China's capacity for undersea dominance. Detecting a submarine is an art and a science. Every piece of underwater noise, from the calls of whales to the crashing of waves, can mask the subtle acoustics of a lurking submarine. Chinese submarines, particularly the Type 093 nuclear-powered attack subs, are known for their quiet propulsion systems. Unlike older, noisier Soviet-era subs, modern Chinese designs are equipped with advanced sound-dampening technologies. They're capable of running in ultra-quiet mode, making detection even more difficult. For this reason, the U.S. Navy relies on a combination of human skill and technological precision. Sonar operators are trained to detect specific acoustic fingerprints unique to submarines. The frequency of the propeller's revolutions, known as shaft beats, is a dead giveaway if identified. But with more modern subs, even that sound is suppressed. This is where technology comes into play. Artificial intelligence-driven sonar systems are a game changer. Advanced machine learning algorithms filter out natural oceanic noises and search for signatures that match known submarine profiles. These AI systems can process data much faster than human operators, flagging potential threats in seconds. When an anomaly is detected, human operators take over to confirm or dismiss the contact. It's a system of checks and balances, ensuring that false alarms don't lead to unnecessary responses. The moment a sonar contact is confirmed, the Combat Information Center shifts into high gear. Inside this nerve center, sailors monitor tactical displays, radar feeds, and sonar signals. Operators use electronic plotting systems to calculate the position, course, and speed of the contact. Communication with nearby ships and aircraft intensifies. Destroyers and frigates tasked with anti-submarine warfare, or ASW, move into formation, extending the carrier's defensive perimeter. Once the sonar contact is verified, it triggers a cascade of responses. If the detected submarine is within striking distance of the carrier, the first step is classification. Classification means confirming the type of submarine. Is it a nuclear-powered attack sub like the 093, or is it a quieter diesel-electric model, which is far harder to detect when running on batteries? Each type of submarine presents different tactical considerations. To maintain control of the situation, the captain orders a full contact log, a minute-by-minute record of the submarine's movement. This log will later be shared with higher command for after-action review. Every maneuver the submarine makes is analyzed for intent. Is it shadowing the carrier as part of routine intelligence gathering, or is it positioning for an attack? The difference determines how the U.S. Navy responds. As more sonar sweeps come in, additional contacts are picked up. Suddenly, what seemed like one submarine is now confirmed as 3. This escalation changes the equation entirely. A single submarine can be tracked and trailed, but 3? That's a coordinated strategy. When multiple submarines surround a carrier, It signals one of two things: a training exercise gone awry, or the beginning of an aggressive maneuver. Multiple subs can work together to herd a carrier strike group, forcing it to change course or compromise its operational objectives. In the worst-case scenario, these submarines could launch a wolf pack attack, a tactic used in World War II, where multiple submarines launch torpedoes simultaneously, overwhelming a ship's defensive systems. The realization that the carrier is surrounded shifts the tactical priorities of the strike group. Destroyers, known as submarine hunters, increase their sonar sweeps, moving into defensive positions around the carrier. Sonar pings are sent out more frequently, revealing the location of the enemy subs, but also revealing the destroyer's positions. It's a calculated risk that sometimes must be taken to maintain awareness. Simultaneously, helicopters equipped with dipping sonar are launched from the carrier deck. The MH-60R Seahawk helicopter is one of the Navy's most versatile ASW assets. Its flexibility to deploy sonar buoys and dip its own sonar below the surface provides additional coverage. From the air, the P-8 Poseidon Maritime Patrol aircraft is called in. The P-8 deploys an array of sonobuoys over a wide area, triangulating any potential submarine movements and tracking them in real time. With the carrier surrounded, it becomes a chess match, one where the U.S. Navy must anticipate every possible move. The captain of the carrier must now make a decision: continue the mission or change course. If the carrier's mission involves launching air sorties, delaying could affect the success of a larger naval strategy. But if the risk of an encounter is too high, the captain may order a temporary retreat to avoid a worst-case scenario. The ability to weigh these choices under pressure is what distinguishes Navy captains from civilian leaders. If an escalation occurs, torpedoes could be launched. The U.S. Navy has protocols for responding to torpedo launches. Torpedo defense systems are activated, including countermeasures like the Nixie towed decoy, which emits sound patterns to draw the torpedo away from the ship. The carrier itself may deploy evasive maneuvers, zigzagging to reduce the chance of a direct hit. But if the submarines remain in passive observation mode, not actively engaging, the standoff can persist for hours or even days. This cat and mouse phase is where patience and discipline come into play. The carrier group maintains its formation while tracking every movement from the subs. Every ping, every course change, and every speed adjustment is monitored, logged, and sent up the chain of command. This scenario is no longer hypothetical. Encounters between U.S. carriers and Chinese subs have occurred multiple times. The infamous 2006 incident, where a Chinese Song-class submarine surfaced within striking distance of the USS Kitty Hawk, is a stark reminder of how close these encounters can get. The submarine had gone undetected until it intentionally surfaced, a move interpreted as a show of force. These encounters highlight the stakes of submarine detection. For every submarine caught, there may be others lurking undetected. The U.S. Navy has to remain ready for a situation that can escalate in minutes. In the silence of the deep ocean, a single ping can mean the difference between peace and conflict. With multiple submarines now confirmed, the carrier strike group shifts from routine operations to tactical maneuvers. Destroyers fan out to create a protective barrier, while the carrier's speed and heading are adjusted to reduce predictability. Helicopters are launched from the decks of destroyers, deploying sonobuoys and dipping sonar to locate and track the subs. Subs operate on stealth, but when surrounded, stealth becomes a liability. The U.S. Navy's approach is to flush them out. Anti-submarine warfare helicopters like the MH-60R Seahawk drop active sonar pulses into the depths, forcing submarines to move, and when they move, they're heard. Meanwhile, the U.S. Navy submarines like the Virginia class move in. Their mission is to clear, locate, shadow, and if necessary, neutralize any submarines that pose an immediate threat to the carrier. Back on the surface, destroyers activate their Nixie torpedo decoy systems, creating a false acoustic signature to lure away enemy torpedoes. Every ship's commander knows that one misstep could turn this tense encounter into a full-blown crisis. When a carrier strike group is surrounded, the tactics shift from defense to dominance. Each vessel in the strike group has a role to play in maintaining control of the underwater battle space. Destroyers, armed with advanced sonar and torpedo systems, spread out to increase their sonar coverage, forming a protective sonar net around the carrier. By spacing out, they eliminate blind spots and ensure that any sub movements are detected immediately. The carrier itself increases speed and changes direction in unpredictable patterns, a maneuver known as zigzagging. This tactic makes it more difficult for submarines to calculate a firing solution for torpedoes. Even a few degrees of course adjustment can be enough to throw off a torpedo's guidance system, especially when combined with countermeasures like the Nixie decoy system. While surface ships handle the outer perimeter, the Virginia-class attack subs operate below. Their mission is to hunt the hunters. Using ultra-quiet propulsion and advanced sonar, these submarines are experts at tracking enemy vessels without being detected themselves. They can identify and follow enemy submarines using passive sonar, which allows them to listen without revealing their own location. Once contact is made, the Virginia-class sub can trail its target from behind, staying within striking distance should engagement become necessary. The MH-60R Seahawk helicopters add a vertical dimension to the fight. Equipped with airborne dipping sonar, they hover over the ocean's surface and drop sonar devices deep below. This allows them to scan large areas of water for signs of submarine activity. When movement is detected, the Seahawk maintains a fixed position to track the sub, feeding live data back to the fleet's Combat Information Center. All of this activity unfolds under the direction of the Tactical Action Officer, or TAO, on the carrier. The TAO has real-time oversight of the battle, coordinating with sonar operators, ship commanders, and aircraft pilots to ensure that the group maintains control. With every sonar ping and radar sweep, the tactical picture becomes clearer. But with every move the US Navy makes, the enemy submarines adjust. They may choose to remain still, hiding in a thermal layer where sonar reflections become distorted, or they may choose to reposition, using short bursts of movement before going quiet again. This game of cat and mouse can last for hours or even days, depending on the strategic objectives of the enemy subs. Tension on board the ships grows. Every sonar ping that returns an echo is analyzed, classified, and logged. If any one of the Chinese subs were to fire a torpedo, the engagement would escalate instantly. For the sailors aboard the carrier strike group, it's a test of nerves, patience, and precision. At this point, the confrontation is at its most dangerous. If a Chinese submarine launches a torpedo, the rules of engagement change instantly. But for now, both sides are playing the long game, testing responses, gathering intelligence, and sending messages to their respective governments. To prevent miscommunication, US Navy ships attempt to hail the submarines on open channels, making clear their intent to operate within international waters. Chinese commanders, however, often remain silent. The silence is strategic. It signals resolve, patience, and willingness to endure the psychological chess match beneath the waves. At the Pentagon, high-ranking officers monitor the situation in real time. Discussions with US allies in Japan, Australia, and the Philippines are fast-tracked to ensure support is available if needed. The US State Department makes diplomatic calls, pressing Beijing for assurances of restraint. Every hour that passes without incident is a small victory for diplomacy. But as history has shown, it only takes one error, one misread signal, a mistaken torpedo launch to spark a chain reaction. If this scenario feels familiar, it's because it's happened before. In 2006, a Chinese Song-class diesel-electric submarine surfaced within weapons range of the USS Kitty Hawk. The encounter sent shockwaves through the US Navy. How did a diesel-powered sub, often considered less stealthy than nuclear subs, get so close to a carrier strike group undetected? More recently, in 2018, the USS Decatur's freedom of navigation operations near the Spratly Islands saw a Chinese warship come within 45 yards of the US destroyer. Such incidents highlight how close encounters at sea can spiral into full-scale conflict. These real-world events underscore the stakes of our what-if scenario. Each encounter becomes a test of nerves, skill, and restraint. One miscalculation could spark an international crisis. So what happens next? The most likely outcome, neither side fires a shot. The US Navy's superior tracking, decoy systems, and counter detection tactics force the Chinese subs to retreat. The carrier strike group maintains its freedom of navigation, and diplomacy carries the day. But in the worst case scenario, a miscalculation occurs. An automated torpedo launch, an accidental collision, or a misunderstood order could trigger the first shots in a naval conflict. In that case, the US Navy's layered defenses would activate close-in weapon systems, anti-torpedo measures, and return fire from the Virginia-class submarines. Which outcome would you bet on? Would it end in a diplomatic victory or in the first underwater battle of the modern era? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Are you ready for more high-stakes naval drama? Click on the next video to see intense encounters, covert maneuvers, and decisions that could change the course of history. Don't miss out. Every second counts in the world of modern naval warfare. Click now and stay ahead of the action. Thanks for watching Navy Productions. Stay sharp, stay vigilant, and we'll see you in the next video.